I'm going to read off these Phil Steele division or individual unit rankings on offense and see what you think of Notre Dame's standing. So in the quarterback room, he's got Notre Dame at 39.
No, this is 39 out of all the teams.
39th in the country in quarterback play. This is the entire quarterback unit.
Sure. I mean, I think that's fair right now. I mean, Tyler Buchner, like you mentioned, last year he did get some play as a freshman, but overall it wasn't like he had a whole lot of time. He is talented, and he's a guy that can make that quarterback room jump up, very quickly if he has a good season. But Drew Pine is another guy that doesn't have much playing time under his belt. I think he has some limited ability there. I think he's a guy that can come in a pinch and do fairly well, but overall there's some just limited athleticism, limited arm strength, and different things like that. And then Stephen Angeli, the other quarterback in that room, is a true freshman. He was a lower level 5-star with some decent offers, and I'm fairly high on him overall. But again, a true freshman who I think probably in a perfect world needs a year or two under his belt before he plays. So I think it's hard to argue with them being 39th. And honestly, I think being top 40 is still kind of a testament to how good Tyler Buchner is, or how people think he can be down the road.
Running back 50.
That one, when healthy, I would disagree with. I think, forgive me, who did you say wrote this?
Phil Steele.
Phil Steele. I do think that there is some recruiting ranking bias when it comes to some of these things. Notre Dame does have a fairly young running back room, but Chris Tyree was a top 60-ish prospect when he came out. Hasn't really had the opportunity to be a star, but we know what he can do when the ball's in his hands. Logan Diggs was a tremendous freshman last year, and he was a 3-star recruit, but he played well as a freshman. So you can kind of just knock out the recruiting ranking out the window, I think, in that. And then you have a guy like Audric Estime, who was also a 4-star guy freshman last year. Jabron Payne, 4-star, who's coming in, and then Jadarian Price, who was a 4-star, again, out for the year. So maybe that plays a role in his ranking. But I think it's a really, really good 5-man unit when fully healthy. But maybe hard to argue with them only having 3 healthy guys right now.
Then with the tight end position included at receiver, Notre Dame at 11.
I think when you include the tight end, I think it has to be there. Michael Mayer is just a stud. He's going to be a first-round pick, probably the top tight end in the country, at least from a draft-eligible standpoint. I know Brock Bowers has probably something to say about that over at Georgia. Certainly different players, too. I think Bowers is maybe more of a receiving threat just in general, kind of a wide receiver playing tight end. And Michael Mayer is more of your traditional tight end, that can also play wide receiver and line up outside. But they also have a really talented deep tight end room. You have a guy coming in, and can't think right now. They have a stud kid coming in who tore his ACL actually as a senior, and he's probably going to get some play at wide receiver this year just because they need bodies there. And they have 5 or 6 other guys at tight end that have played or will be playing this year. So when you include the tight end room, in the discussion, it's hard to argue with that. And then again, I think I go back to my comments earlier with the wide receiver room. As long as they stay healthy, they have a pretty talented wide receiver room. It's more so if they lose a few guys, then it can get kind of sketchy from here on out.
Are we talking about Tobias Merriweather? Tobias
Merriweather is actually a true freshman wide receiver. I'm pulling it up right now. I'm kind of at a blank. It's been a while since I've been on the airwaves, like I said. So, just a little.
Oh, we don't expect you to know everything, Nathan. 99% of it, so we're good with that. I was just trying to figure out who you were talking about. That
Eli Raridan.
Okay.
He was he's a top 100 kid on pretty much consensus in the tight end room. So, I think he's a kid that specifically, if you follow Notre Dame, then you're very excited about him even as a freshman.
Phil Steele with the offensive line at number 9 in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what I said, and I think maybe there's, like, again, a little bit of bias when it comes to the recruiting rankings there. because I do think that they still kind of need to prove that. But I think all the talent in the world is there at offensive line to go from a unit that was very poor to start out last year. Towards the end of the season, they got much better. And I think this year they have the potential to be right back on track of what we're used to seeing for Notre Dame offensive line. So I think 9 is, you could argue, is maybe high right now, but I think at the end of the season, you could argue it was way too low.